Okay. Then, well, I'm so happy to have you here. Well, we already know each other, and I'm a number one fan of your work.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
No, no.
Stop. Yeah.
Well,
My head's going to be too wide for the screen.
well, the good reviews are raining on you, so I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
saying so.
I'm a little bit made up with it, with the actual amount of reviews that are coming in at the moment, because normally I'm on Facebook begging for people to review. I'm like, oh, please review me, please. And but they're sort of falling in now, and it's exciting me. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for people to know, tell me, who is the McCluskey?
Okay,
who are
that's
you?
me.
That's you.
Now, D.E. McCluskey, I'm an author from Liverpool in the UK. As you could probably tell by my accent, sometimes you need subtitles underneath what I'm saying, because a lot of people can't pick up the Scouse accent. I write mostly horror. I'm sort of like within the horror genre. I'm trying to sort of like cross genre within the horror genre. So I'm doing a few extreme horrors, a few run of the mill horrors. No, like when I say run of the mill, it's like normal everyday horror. I'm also trying to do comedy horror as well. And I'm doing horror for children, which is a bit of a crazy one. Yeah.
And have you always been interested in horror? How did you start?
Yeah. When I was a kid, when I was 11, I think it was, I was bored at home one day and I picked up a book, and it had a skeleton on the front, and I thought, oh yeah, that looks good. And
I like that.
I picked it up. I picked it. Sorry, did we pause then? Yeah. So I picked it up, and it was like little short stories, and I read that within it must have been about 2 days. I just sat there during the summer holidays and just read it right away from cover to cover. And I was just absorbed it. And then the very next day after I'd finished it, I went and got The Stand, Stephen King's The Stand. Now that's about this thick.
Yeah.
I wasn't much bigger than that myself at the time, and I was just stand on it to wash my hands. And I absorbed it. And then from that day, from that week when I actually picked up them horror books, I was just, I loved horror. Absolutely loved reading, watching, everything about horror. It was just boss. Just really good.
So it's a really, really true fan of horror.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Do you have a favorite classic horror, like any classic movie that it's stuck in your mind from?
My favorite horror movie.
The classic one.
Yeah, well, a classic one.
Classic one, yes.
Oh, right. Anything with Christopher Lee as Dracula. Now, all the old English Hammer horror movies that are the acting is atrocious and the sets are wobbly and stuff like that, but it's just got such an atmosphere. I just love all them. So it's like The Brides of Dracula and Dracula Rides Again and stuff like that. It's just, I love all that. Yeah, and also mummy movies, the early ones where not like the ones that were done a few years ago. Like they were all right, but the ones where the mummy is actually wrapped in bandages and walks around and how he catches people, I just don't know. But there you go.
That's the good horror.
Yeah.
Do you like the classic horror more than the current one?
I think nowadays, it's bizarre because I've just literally yesterday or the day before we went to see the new Candyman film on the pictures, and it was all right. It was good, but what I think they're doing with horror now is they're trying to push it through to get a 15 rating. So obviously more people can go and see the film, and it makes more money in the box office.
Yeah.
And I think an awful lot of it is diluting the horror. Like I can't abide is it Bloomhouse or Blumhouse? Any horrors that they do, I just diluted. It's just like all it is like a few little jump scares.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, I've seen it all before. Do you know what I mean? So Candyman was great, but it was diluted. Whereas I like a really atmospheric, dream feel, 18 rated horror, that's going to scare you. You know, but you're just not getting that nowadays.
Yes, it happens to me too. I try to watch as many horror movies I can, and many of them I don't know them. I just go around and say this one. So this is what I find. And so many times, too many times, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
So disappointed. Like, where is the horror? Why is this supposed to scare me? It's so commercial.
Yeah, I think that it's like nowadays they tend to think that like if you've got like you know, you see someone getting a throat cut and blood comes out, that's horror.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's the anticipation of someone getting a throat cut. That's the horror.
Exactly.
And they don't. The filmmakers these days, they don't seem to understand that.
Yes.
That the horror is mostly here. It's all right. There's about 40% of it in your eyes.
Exactly.
60% of it's up there. That's why my all-time favorite horror film is The Blair Witch Project. I love that film because you don't get to see the bad guy. You don't get to see the big monster, the big ghost or the witch or whatever it is. And it's the people's anticipation. All right, the three people are really annoying and I think they deserve to die. But it's their anticipation of their horror of what's actually happening to them. That is where the horror filters through. And that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because sometimes there's films or movies that I'm sure they have been so expensive because you see all the special effects and all the backgrounds and everything, but they are not really scary. It's like, for example, the Blair Witch Project. It's the simplest movie ever. And
it must have cost them about 600 quid. Yeah, just a couple of films.
It's a guy with a camera.
Yeah, and a week in the woods.
Nothing else, and nothing ever really happens until the end, and still it's everything in your mind because you're all the time wondering and waiting for something. It's really and
it doesn't happen. See, but what I think these days is the big budget films go for the special effects. It's like the Marvel Universe films. Now they look fantastic, they're flashy, and they've got like all the most fantastic special effects. But especially the early ones, they lack in storyline. There's no storyline. No. It's just like another flash across the screen, and then I'll go and hit him, and then he'll come and hit me, and it's like, and it's like, well, where's the story at the end of it? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yes, exactly. I have always been a huge fan of Hulk. I love Hulk.
All right, yeah.
And I love the comics, the physical comics. Yeah. But then I watched the movies. I was like so excited, and this is not my Hulk.
No.
They didn't catch the essence.
I enjoyed.
So pretty.
Yeah, they did. They make everything look nice.
Yes,
it shouldn't be.
He's even handsome.
yeah, and it's like the Hulk's got to be this hideously.
Exactly.
But it's like the second Hulk film that they did with Edward Norton, I thought was the better one. I thought that was great, but they didn't sort of continue that sort of line.
Yeah.
But no, it's films these days are really kind of annoying me. So nowadays I've got Amazon Prime and Netflix. Yeah. So when I've got like a couple of hours, when everyone's gone to bed and I'm just still just going through my head and stuff like that, I'll go through it and I'll find the film like I spit in your eye when you die and stuff. I just made that up. But it's like, and I think to myself, it's indie film. And I thought, I'm going to watch that. And, 30% of the time you find something really good. 70% it's crap.
Yeah.
But 30% of the time you find something you think, there's a boss idea. So, and then I write it down and write a book about it. And steal all the ideas.
Looking for inspiration.
I don't buy that. Yeah.
Well, I guess the indie community is not as chained with doing commercial things, I guess.
Yeah.
They can be as crazy as they are openly.
Yeah, I think it all started when, when Halloween took off and Friday the 13th took off. And what's the other one? Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. So if you watch the first two or maybe even the first three of each of those franchises, they're really good. they've got like some really good ideas, and they've got like some really good horror, and there's a lot of schlock in it. And then afterwards, it just became money for the studios.
Yeah.
Like Jason Takes Manhattan. So he's walking around the middle of New York City looking like Jason, killing people. And everyone's like, oh, whatever. Yeah. It all just becomes about, it all become about the money. And then they started becoming 15s.
Yeah.
And it done my head in, because massive Alien fan. So the first Alien film, Aliens, Alien 3, I absolutely loved. Even to a degree, Alien 4, they were all really, really good films. And then they brought out the Alien versus Predators.
Yes.
And they were PG-13 films. And I was like, what are they doing? And they made it like a cartoon. It was almost like cartoony. And it was like funny theatrical deaths. And you're thinking, no.
They made it a comedy.
No. Yeah, it's like, stop right now. But so there you go. Anyway, rant over.
No, but that's true. That's true. It's I miss the classic horror. I don't know. I enjoy so much The Evil Dead and all of this kind of cheesy horror.
Oh, yeah.
I love it so much. It's funny because it's comedy, but it's more gore comedy. It's now the caffeinated. I don't know how to say this word in English. Like without caffeine. Horror.
They remade it, didn't they, not so long ago, The Evil Dead, and it was awful, I thought. Yeah. But another one of my all-time favorites, and I hope they never, ever do anything with it, never remake it, is American Werewolf in London. Because that is superb. It's got the right amount of comedy, it's got the right amount of horror, and it's just fabulous. There's another classic one.
I hope they don't ruin it. Because I just think they have run out of ideas, because they are just remaking everything. So
my theory on this is that they haven't run out of ideas, but what they do is they're very clever in the way they work it, because
sorry? There, I lost you for a moment.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So
I lost you for 3 seconds.
All right. Okay. So I write my books, I write novels, and I write graphic novels.
Yes.
But my best-selling graphic novel is A Christmas Carol. So I rewrote The Christmas Carol, wrote it in rhyme. It's true to the original, and it's a nice one for the kids, and it's good for adults as well. Lovely Christmas film, lovely Christmas book. And that's my bestseller, because people already know the story, and they already know the characters, and they're already invested in that. Whereas an awful lot of people won't go and invest in a new character and a new horror. So if they brought out a new horror character called, I don't know, Candleman. I'm just saying that because there's a candle in front of me there. Candleman, and what he does is he melts his victims.
Yeah.
Though it wouldn't be as big a hit, because nobody knows who Candleman is, but everybody always knows who Jason is, who Freddy is, who Michael Myers is. So they're just rehashing all the old stuff, because they know that they're going to get bums on seats.
It's like a comfort zone.
Instead of taking a chance, they go out and they just rehash the same old rubbish. Yeah.
Well, then now that we've fixed the horror world, let's talk about your next release, which has the amazing title of Mutant Superhero Zombie Killing Disco Cheerleaders from Outer Space with Uses.
Hey,
and it will be out for Halloween.
I just noticed that you had to read that then as you were.
I got it. I wrote it. I can't retain the title.
Yeah, it's got one of the longest titles. Well, what this book is, going back to what we were just talking there about classic movies like Return of the Living Dead or Night of the Living Dead. This is what this book is. It's a homage to all those late 1970s, early 1980s B movies with absolutely atrocious acting, terrible storylines, but just got that fantastic fun vibe. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I've tried to do with this. So it's like got zombies that walking around shouting brains, that type of thing.
That's great. Well, we have to make a warning that your extreme horror is disturbing a lot, readers. So if you say this one is disturbing, then beware, readers.
Yeah,
you grab this book.
Trigger warnings, yeah.
Trigger.
But this one, yeah, this one isn't extreme. I mean, there's a little bit of gore in it, but it's fun. It's more fun than anything else. This one, whereas Cravens, don't read Cravens while you're eating. That's all I'll need to say to you.
So you need to read Cravens now.
You need to read Cravens, but just not while you're eating. Yeah.
Well, you will have to eat eventually and think of your book.
Yeah, it's only a thin one, so I take an afternoon. But it's what I've done with you know what, I always forget the name of this book myself. It's like Mutant. I always call it Superhero Ninja Turtles, and then I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But I wrote this because I just remember as a kid, I absolutely loved them films. I was born in 73. So when he was coming out, I was like 10, 11, 12. And it was like, it was titillating because it was like, you know, you got to see people getting the faces torn off, and you got to see zombies eating other people. And then, you know, you got to see like a flash of women's boobs. And it was like, when you're 13, you were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know, it was that whole cheesiness. It was the whole bizarre feeling of them films. And that's what I've tried to get into this. So there's loads of humor in it, and there's loads of like banter between the characters. And then these cheerleaders, they've all got mutations, and they've all got like little special powers and stuff like that. And then it just builds up. The whole film, the whole book builds up to the climatic ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't read like a normal novel. It doesn't read like John got out of bed on Monday morning. It's a film. It goes straight into the film.
That's great. Yeah. That's great, because it sounds amazing. Because when you see this kind of material, that it's like so sensorial and so cheesy, as you say, this kind of, you can't stop watching, and in this case, reading. It's something. It's like watching a fish tank or the fire. You can't stop watching it. So I don't think there's a horror fan that doesn't like cheesy classic horror. We all love it.
Everybody's good, unless they're like a full-on devil.
Yeah.